Let's see. Looks like I am live. I will wait a few minutes. Jeff and Sheldon are on standby. So we will wait a few minutes because it doesn't appear anybody's watching. Hang on. He is. All right. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So we'll wait a few minutes. Hearts Love, she was here just a few minutes ago. Hopefully others will show up. Give it a few minutes. Okay. Make yourselves be known. How are you all this evening? Okay. Okay. Yeah, forgive the typing ASMR. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay, let's see, there's somebody else watching. Okay, we're going to give it a few minutes. All right, I'm going to start by opening while we all wait. While we all wait, as mentioned, Sheldon and Jeff are on standby, and they will be on shortly. I'm hoping more people will be coming in to the live chat very shortly. So anyways, what is the definition, the quick, short version, because it is long and there's many characteristics of autism spectrum disorder. There are different levels of functioning, from the low to the high. And, not everybody's going to have the same deficits or the same issues. It is a neurological disorder. It is classified under non-neurotypical, but it is also a psychiatric disorder listed in the DSM-5 as autism spectrum disorder. And here is its definition. Briefly, it says deficits in social emotional reciprocity, easy for me to say, ranging from abnormal social approach and failure of normal back and forth conversation, to reduced sharing of interests, emotions, or affect, to failure to initiate or respond to social interactions. So it's basically when the, yeah, I'm on. Okay, yeah, Sheldon was asking. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So what was I saying before I was so rudely interrupted? Yeah, so basically it's the social awkwardness. A lot of the times with autism spectrum, there are mental illnesses attached as comorbid conditions. OCD and social anxiety disorder, of course, are most common comorbid conditions with autism spectrum disorder. So tonight we are going to have two adults, two men. They're both like Jeff and Sheldon. To those who have been here before. Okay. Hey, Hearts, great to see you. Okay. Oh, geez. You didn't get the reminder. YouTube has not been sending the reminders or the notifications. I don't know why. But this is going on for a lot of channels, a lot of people. I have no idea why. Okay, I'm going to turn my lamps on. Okay. I turn the lamps on. Okay. I hope to have as many people as I did this afternoon. It's a little difficult when you plan 2 live streams at the same time. Okay. So I'm going to bring Jeff and Sheldon on shortly. You have a bad signal. Oh, you're in the country. Oh, okay. Drive carefully. Drive carefully, yes. I hope others will come in and join shortly. Okay. So, yeah, both of these men are lifelong friends. Sheldon is a friend of the channel. He's collabed with me on many videos, including some recent live streams. So he doesn't really need much of an introduction. Jeff, this is his debut. He is Sheldon's lifelong friend. Both of these men are on the autism spectrum. Both are age 60 years old. Both deal with things differently. One was diagnosed in childhood at a time when little was known. It was still very much taboo and kept pretty much the family secret. And the other man was diagnosed late in his life, in his late 50s, when diagnostic tools became more widely available. Okay, so without further ado, okay, even though there's not too many people watching right now, I'm going to bring both Jeff and Sheldon on, so I'm going to send them their links. Okay, so, all right. All right. Okay, Sheldon. You know the drill. Okay, so Sheldon is about to hop on in a minute. I'm going to send Jeffrey the link very shortly because I want them to join one at a time. Oh, you're a passenger, eh, Hertz? Okay, that's good. At least you're not driving and watching a stream. Okay, Sheldon is about to hop on. Okay, waiting for him. I see he's trying to get in. We're going to wait for him. Once he's in, we're going to bring Jeffrey in. Okay, add to stream. Okay, Sheldon, hang on. Is he coming? Uh-oh, I'm seeing a black screen. Shell, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but we're just getting a black screen.
I don't know. YouTube's been doing that the last couple of minutes. Even when I was monitoring your YouTube, it would keep freezing. So I don't know what that means.
Oh dear. Okay.
But I'm able to hear you. So as long as we can hear one another, that's the main thing. But you're frozen on the screen.
I am?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I see a still video. I see a still photograph. Hang on. You could wait for it to become. Hang on. I'm waiting.
No, I'm out. You're out now. Okay. All right, come back. Okay. Hey, Rafe, great to see you. Technology is grand, but only when it works. Yeah, Sheldon, I've been trying to get Sheldon on. I'm going to try and get Jeffrey on while we're waiting for Sheldon to take care of. No, Sheldon's about to hop on. Okay, we'll try this again.
I think you're able to see me, Nee. I think you're able to see me.
Yeah, let's see your face, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to break the. It's freezing again.
What?
It's freezing again. My face is freezing. I don't know.
Okay, because other people, they're saying I'm not frozen.
I am. Like I'm seeing a video of myself.
Yeah.
Like I see it now, a still picture. I see a still picture of you. And I'm going to switch browsers.
All right. I'll bring Jeffrey on while we wait. I'm going to give Jeffrey the link. I'll bring him on. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna be a few minutes.
All right, we'll do.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're gonna. Okay, well, Sheldon takes care of his technical issues. We're gonna try and bring Jeffrey on. Okay. Okay, Jeff. Make link. Allow. To access your camera and mic. And if you want, take your name on the screen. Okay, let's see, is Jeff coming on? Okay. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I know voice is most important. Okay. Hang on, we've got Jeffrey. Okay. Jeff, we see you. Can you talk?
Yeah, hi.
Just you got sound. Yeah, we're having.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we're waiting for Sheldon. He's having a few technical issues on his end, but we can get started with you and I. We'll introduce.
Sure.
We'll introduce you. This is Jeffrey's first time here on the channel at Straight Talk and Fedora Chic. He is a lifelong friend of Sheldon's. They've known each other from youth. And so we'll start by Jeff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your schooling, how you know, stuff like that, and how you came to be diagnosed as being on the spectrum?
Well, I mean, I was never really diagnosed as a child, and it was undetected by any doctor that I saw, pediatrician. I was always very quiet when I was very young. And in fact, in kindergarten, the kindergarten teacher of the class did not even know I was in her class because I was so quiet.
Oh dear.
Which upset my mother.
Oh yeah.
And you know, because who's Jeffrey? She didn't even know I existed in the class. That's the extent of it. And I do remember, I recall when I was 7, 8, or 9 years old, my pediatrician remarking how quiet I was, but they didn't think that there was something not right there. To get me tested for something. Asperger's was not known. It wasn't well known at the time. Nobody talked about it, although it was a thing. It existed, but it was not. It was extremely something. It was like extremely rare. It's like a red herring, and so. To this day, it amazes me that the doctor didn't have the awareness to think that I should be tested for something like this, you know?
Yeah, it was pretty much still taboo in those days and very much unknown.
Yeah.
You know, so it would not be uncommon that you fell through the cracks. Like you said, you fell through the cracks in kindergarten. The teacher didn't know you were there practically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so only very few people who are on the spectrum in your generation, both you and Sheldon are age 60. So it's rare. Sheldon is in a different position. He did have a diagnosis at an early, at childhood. You know, he did, but when going through school, Jeff, was it like this after kindergarten? Were you still pretty much?
I was always very quiet going through school, and in high school, I didn't like to participate in class. So I was very shy and quiet, and I had difficulty socializing. I didn't have the social acumen, social skills that some of the other children had at the time. And in fact, I remember in my English class, the teacher actually almost getting upset with me that I wasn't participating in the class. So because it was just very difficult for me to engage socially. You know?
And it's not because you didn't know the material, right? You knew
it's just that I just was not really socially adept or tuned in to really be present on that level to participate, you know. And I shied away from social situations. Even my high school prom, I didn't want. I was very anxious about that. I didn't want to. I didn't even want to go. It was just, you know, I felt so different from the other kids, and the other kids, you know, had tendencies to tease me and make fun of me and taunt me and ridicule me a lot, and I didn't want to risk going through that. It was too much.
No, understandable. I mean, kids can be cruel. Adults can be cruel too. You know, I mean, different, you know, or appears different. Stereotypes fly through. You went on to university, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a master's degree?
I got my bachelor's degree, my BA at McGill, and my MA at Concordia University. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it was very difficult working through my MA at the time was very difficult. I was going through something with, um, you know, today they might say bipolar or depression. I don't know. It was like something nobody was really sure it was, because I was on various different medications, and the doctors didn't even know I was like a guinea pig. I was tried like various different medications, and a lot of them didn't work. Some worked, but I mean, it was just all pretty much to my detriment. And you know,
So now that you know, and you only learned about your
I
condition
think
years
I
ago.
realized that it was about uh, uh, I started about 2 years or year and a half or 2 years ago, but it was really didn't hit home until about a little over a year ago, when I met a psychiatrist who himself was on the spectrum, and he pointed out to me that this is, you know, this is what it is, from talking to him in conversation, and we were similar in certain respects. So yeah.
How did you feel when this psychiatrist told you you were on
So
the spectrum? How did you feel any sense of relief or any sense of closure? Or
well, it came out like, you know, like, Jeff, you have Asperger's, you know, so it was like, yeah, okay. I felt like I was validated in a sense. It was kind of like, in a way, in a kind of strange way, validating for me to know, well, yes, okay, it's confirmed, validated to me that this is explains why I had all the difficulties I had in school and in the job market, especially going through interviews, and it was horrible. It was just horrible. I was not given a fair shot because of it. Because if you can understand, like, you know, my medications, what's the problem here? What's that? You're slow, slow responsive, or just withdrawn, or nobody understood. Nobody really got what it was, and I was disadvantaged in that way.
okay. Sheldon, do you want to jump in? Is because you've known Jeff a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, I've known Jeff for quite a few years, actually over 50 years, which is really a testament to our friendship. And you know, I was diagnosed really, really early, but I found out much late. I mean, I knew there was something wrong to the point that I remember when I was a baby, and I was told this as I was growing up, that my attention span was so fixated on certain objects.
Oh dear.
And believe it or not, back then, I was fixated on clocks and watches, so like a round object. And basically everything around me was completely a blur, it was basically a narrow field of vision. And the thing was that it was really, really hard. And the thing was, my parents were told that I would never graduate elementary school, never mind high school, never mind CJEP, never mind university. And my parents refused to accept that. And my parents kept working with me. And my mother was home.
Your mother was a school teacher before she married and had children, right?
Yeah, exactly. Once she had kids, she gave up being a school teacher. And because I had so many problems, the thing was that my mother had to work with me constantly and putting me through different schools, and also refusing to say, no, my son is going to get an education. My son is going to graduate. My son is going to do well. And it was always a struggle when I went to school. It was always because my attention span was really, like, certain things I'd be so fixated in. And the thing is that it was very hard. Like my brother, yes, my brother worked very, very hard, but he did very, very well. He's in medicine now. He's like the top of the food chain in McGill as far as the medicine faculty of medicine is concerned. My sister's doing very, very well also and lives in Ottawa, but me, it was a constant struggle. Now I just turned 60. I was blessed. I was blessed with a very good radio career, and I still do some radio, commercial radio today, as we speak. And I do podcasts, a couple of podcasts during the week. So I keep myself very, very busy and try to help out whatever projects I can. So I'm quite busy when it comes to these things. And I had the passion to succeed, and I was lucky that I was blessed with something I wanted to do since high school. And the thing was that, you know, my autism, I was considered a high functioning autistic child.
Okay.
And it was extremely difficult for me. I started a year late in my education. Jeff and I are the same age, but I was a grade lower than Jeff because
you were not in the same class.
No, we went to the same school.
Yeah, that I recall, because you both had my father as a teacher.
Yeah, you were held. Yeah, you were held back a year.
I was held back a year. Jeff and I went to the same camp, and Jeff and I went, did traveling together both across the United States and the next year Canada. And we went to camp, and Jeff and I have a fantastic relationship still to this very day. Yeah. But it was
even in camp, I was teased and taunted because I was very much different from the other children in respect that I was like slow, you know, like you'd think like it was some kind of mental problem. Like I was so, like as a joke, I got the name in camp as Flash as a joke. And I didn't take it as something derogatory at the time. I just, okay, great. I thought I just played along with it. I rolled with it, you know, Flash Gordon, you know, you know, but they, you know, meant it in a very negative way. They had fun at my expense. It was just all a lot of fun at my expense, and I didn't realize the extent to which I was being taunted and ridiculed at the time. So.
You know, they say that kids are very cruel, you know, like kids are, you know, kids take because they don't understand it. And back then too, don't forget, you know, when I was diagnosed as an autistic child, and I guess when you got the diagnosis too, I mean, things have progressed to a certain point better. It's more well known now than it was many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And
it was hardly even known. It was hardly even heard of.
And mental illness going back years ago was something to the point.
It was a stigma. You were stigmatized. That when I was going through emotional anxiety and depression, that it was a shame. My mother wanted me to hide it from the world and even my own family, my cousins.
Oh, really?
About it. Yeah, it was like, you know, don't talk about it. Don't talk. It was a stigma. It was like a shame. It was it was like a black spot. My father had no means of understanding it because, you know, in his day, nobody is unheard of. Someone should be depressed. If it was a sign of mental weakness, if you were depressed, that's the way he looked at it. You know?
Okay. Yeah, it's true. There was a taboo back in those days, and it's like I can't imagine what it's like. You have a family gathering, for instance, the Jewish holidays, and you're having a family dinner. You're having to hide, you know, having to hide who you are, having to pay extra attention to your mannerisms, right? You know, so I can't imagine. You know, I mean, it was like that for me. I am not diagnosed on the spectrum, but I had developmental delays. So I can relate. So this leads to my next question. The both of you knew each other from youth. You went to the same elementary school, although not in the same class. You both had my father as a teacher.
No, I didn't. No, actually, no, I didn't. Because I wasn't, at the time, I was not at the same school even. I was in Royal Vale grade
Oh,
7
that's
of
okay.
French immersion. So I skipped. So like I was, you might say, saved from the experience of being in his class, the grade 7. Although I did get the stories, I heard the stories, and it was interesting, But I excelled in French, and I was in a French immersion program.
Well, I had CK's father for 2 days, Jeff, 2 or 3 days, and pretty much that was the end of that.
And a friend of mine told me that he was different. He was just, he's very strict, and he, put his desk at the back of the class, not the front of the class, and he was like a taskmaster. So, yeah, that's I mean, he was kind of, he was overzealous about his role as a teacher, you might say.
Let me ask you both. I have a question for you both. One of you jump in first. When you first met each other, did you feel drawn to each other because you were both different from other children?
Not me. No. I think I just liked Jeff because Jeff was, Jeff had a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
And Jeff was a smart guy. Jeff was a nice guy. So I didn't look in terms of what he had, and what he had, and I was drawn to him for that. No, Jeff and I have this relationship whereby we just clicked like that.
Well, at the time in 1967, when Sheldon was 8 and I was almost turning 8 at the time. I was getting close to my 8th
That's where I was born. Okay, I was in Mummy's tummy until the end of September of that year.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know, huh? Yeah, like as if I wasn't old now. Now you
didn't miss much.
Yeah, she's aged me by 10 years.
You didn't miss much. So, so I was in camp. I was actually originally they put me in the younger bunk, and I didn't feel comfortable. I wanted to be with kids I knew, kids closer. Like I didn't mean with the younger kids because in those days 1 year made a big difference. As you grow older, it didn't make a difference. But in those days, it made a big difference. And Sheldon was actually put in the younger bunk.
Mm-hmm.
But Sheldon was the only one who would be friends. Well, the only kid who would be friends with me because I was a weird kid. I was just different. I was just different from everybody else. I was withdrawn. I was awkward, socially, athletically, everything. I didn't have the same. I wasn't like the other children. They couldn't relate.
The thing was with me, I went from junior. I didn't even go into the intermediate. You were in the intermediate. I was in the junior, I think, Jeff, at one point. And I went from junior right to senior.
Yeah. You were bumped up to be in the same division, same bunk as me. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
And Jeff and I, once I was in the senior division, Jeff and I would always bunk together. When Jeff was in the intermediate, I was in the junior. We weren't bunking together for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But Jeff and I always had each other's back. And the thing was, our relationship started at camp. And then once we got back into the city, once camp was over, Jeff and I ran into each other by fluke because I was playing baseball near where he used to live. And he came over, and where he used to live was on the other side of Hampstead. I was living on the eastern side.
It was like right. It's sort of like counterintuitive that you had a park like right 1 or 2 minutes from his house. But it's kind of counterintuitive. You go to a different park. You skip that park. You go to a different park in a different part of the town.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it just shows how it was meant to be. How forces were at play, how much it was.
And the thing was, when Jeff and I traveled and we always were bunkmates, like Jeff and I it was basically like Hawkeye and Trapper of MASH. It was like, I used to kibitz around a lot.
That year, 10th Road, 1973, it was like, it's sort of like that, and then there comes the hijinks. We had kids, so there's a lot of hijinks, and Johnny Carls especially was very wicked with the towel whipping, and he teasing
Oh, yeah.
kids, picking on kids who are different, and having fun, like at their expense, having like playing practical jokes and having fun, but which was cruel and mean, actually. So, but that's what kids did in those days.
Yeah. And the thing was, like, bullying was very rampant back then, but now bullying is different now, because now it's more online. It's more cyberbullying, which to me is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical bullying even.
Agreed.
And
I tend to do a video on bullying a little further down the road. I'm not sure if that's going to be an upload or if that's going to be live, but yeah, because it is an important topic and it is affecting mental health today. And it's gotten to the point, you know, somebody's a little different, or somebody is a little out of the societal norm, so to speak. You know, it's more difficult, and you both just described that quite well. Now, okay, fast forward to.
Yeah, but I grew up with a bully. My eldest brother was one of the biggest bullies. He was a bully. You know. He was a tough guy. He was a tough kid in high school.
Wow.
You know.
Just a second. There's some comments from the. I'd like to go over some comments from the chat from Hearts Love. He is one of my moderators, a longtime friend of the channel, as well as Phoenix. Okay. Hearts Love says she loves your glasses, Jeff. She thinks they're sharp. She loves your glasses.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's like the Elton John type of glasses, you know.
Yeah, you know, it gives me a certain image, you know.
Yeah, they are cool. You know, I think they are cool. Well, people make fun of my red glasses all the time. Okay, they make fun of my red glasses. But anyways, she also says it's always nice to have your friends back, and that's awesome. Even all you have remained friends your whole lives. Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something which it's kind of rare, but I mean, meant to be. It was meant to be. So
yeah,
friendship like the one that Jeff and I have is very, very rare. I was friends with somebody else about 35, 40 years, but Jeff and I, by far, have had the longest friendship. He's always been my inner circle, a person I call my brother all the time, and we were both going through different things individually. And
I was over at his house enough. I mean, you know, I could make the joke that I was over at his house so often that his mother was worried that I would ask to move in. You know.
Yeah. He was he was only 2 or 3 friends that was actually permitted to go to my parents' country place, because my parents were very private. And when we had the country place up in the Laurentians, Jeff was one of the few that was allowed, because anybody else, my parents would say no right away. But they saw the bond that Jeff had. We traveled a lot. My parents had a lot of trust in his parents. His parents had a lot of trust in my parents.
Just like his dad took me under. His dad treated me like one of his own.
Yeah,
I have to say.
Yeah, well,
I'll never forget him.
Do you think maybe the reason his parents accepted you, Jeff, that maybe because they knew about how Sheldon was, they saw some similarities with you?
Well, I think, first of all, they were very happy that Sheldon had such a close friend.
Okay.
That he had such strong companionship and a close friendship with me, that it impressed me that I friendly with. And Sheldon was small as a kid. I was big. I was a bigger kid. I was big for my age. And I think his father thought that he felt secure that I would go with Sheldon, that he was protected. Like you say, you know, Cheevers, take care of your buddy, Sheldon. Take care of your buddy, Cheevers. Yeah. You know, like I was like his. I was the bigger one. I'd be protective of him. They felt secure that I was with Sheldon, you know?
You know, it was amazing because in camp, I had a lot of struggles with kids. I used to be teased a lot. And then at one point, I just got to the point I got so fed up. I lost my temper a few times in camp, and I really straightened a lot of people out. Then after that, I didn't have a lot of friends in school until
Hang on a second. We've got a new person to say hello. Steve, hi, great to see you. Yes, room for a weirdo from Ontario. Feel free to stick around, and Heart Love here will keep you entertained.
And just a shout out to everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being in the chat room. We appreciate it. As I was saying before, CK, that when I was going into school, elementary school, until I hit till about grade 9 or grade 10 in junior high, I really didn't have that many friends. I had a very select few friends. Jeff was always there. Jeff always accepted me regardless. Jeff, Jeff really stood by me all the time, and he was a tremendous, solid figure, solid friendship. Really defined the meaning of a true friendship and a true brother.
Okay.
And once I got into the latter part of junior high, I started having a lot more social skills, and also it did help me by going into radio, and radio really taught me a lot of confidence, because if you don't get the confidence in the arts and entertainment industry, you're not going to get it anywhere.
Well, speaking of entertainment, Jeff, you're starting a career in stand-up comedy. You want to talk to us a bit about that?
Yeah, I got into it from open mic. I did a music open mic at the time, and I came out with the line was I thought just before I came on, the line that my friends call me Jeff, or they don't call me at all, and and that got laughs. So that sort of clicked that. Oh yeah, I'll be good at this, and I mean, you might say a would-be failed musician, but my partner Judy said to me, better stick to comedy. I think that's more of your strong suit. Although I do love music. Music was really my first love, and I play the guitar. I'm challenged in that way. But I couldn't be as proficient at that as I am with entertaining people through comedy and jokes, and just these witticisms and so forth. So
yeah. So I imagine because of the social aspect, it's difficult for you. How did you feel the first time you were going on stage? The first time you were going on stage, you were going to do your stand-up comedy routine.
Yeah, the first night at McLean's Pub, open mic night on Sunday night, and I went up. I knew exactly. I had a routine down pat, and I did the shtick with my son of a merchant shtick, which is actually true. Like in those days, birth certificates are not the same as today, issued by the Quebec, department. I got one from the synagogue. Said my name, my full name, and underneath it said son of a merchant. So. I ran with that. I made jokes about that, and that worked. And my crazy family, what happened with a crazy, dysfunctional, kind of weird, perverted uncle, and made jokes about him. And my aunt having a shoe fetish, shoe fan, shoes is her fantasy. What can I tell you? So that's sort of shtick. And so it just worked. That just sort of clicked. So I think I'll think of those like making dicks for autism, what it means to be on the spectrum, walking encyclopedia, but don't ask me to recite poetry, that type of thing. Yeah.
Sheldon, can you hear us? It looks like, okay, Sheldon, can you hear?
No, I just mute my mic, so if I move anything, nothing. You don't hear anything. So no, I'm hearing everything.
Okay. Stephen wishes a mazel tov to all of you, to both of you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, I think we can all relate to the crazy family. That's right, Hearts. We all can. You were both, yeah. So Jeff through his stand-up comedy, you through radio, both having to overcome your social challenges associated with autism spectrum disorder. That's quite a feat.
Yeah. I can mention also throughout my life, different persons that I met who the people, they didn't understand that maybe I had Asperger's or something, that I thought I was just a weird guy, just, you know, even just like a different guy. And it was very demeaning, and you know, treated me in a kind of demeaning way, or looked upon me in a demeaning way, for being different, in that way. And I was sort of kind of stigmatized in that way because I didn't have the same social skills as everybody else, even up to recently, 7-8 years ago. Not being so emotionally responsive or connective, and you know, so to the woman I'm with now, you say, well, "What are you doing with that guy?" That type of attitude.
Oh.
What are you doing? It's very demeaning, very negative, demeaning
Yeah,
attitude. Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Sheldon, you have the same issue. Do people ask your partner about that too? Nobody's ever asked me in the 9 years I was with you.
No, nobody's asked her as far as I know. As far as I know, no. I mean, I've gotten a lot of praise, and you know, I've had problems way in the past with relationships, but I found, look, you and I were going out for about 8 to 9 years or 10 years.
Mhm.
My partner Alina and I have been seeing each other now for 3 years. I've been very blessed with her. She's been very, very supportive, and she's very similar because she's also an artist in her own right. She is a school teacher. She's an extremely effective communicator. And she's really always supported me when I was down. And I'm very fortunate. First of all, I have to give credit where credit is due, not only to my wonderful sweetheart Alina, but Jeff has been amazingly supportive in the ups and downs I've been going through with my life. You two have been very supportive, CK. My kids have been very supportive. A couple of cousins in my family have been extremely supportive because I've been going through a lot of issues recently when it came to full-time job work. I mean, I'm very blessed with the radio station I'm working at. They give me whatever work that they throw at me, and they're amazing. They're amazing people. I used to work with a much bigger radio station, and unfortunately, you know, I've learned a lot of things from that radio station, and you know, I've given credit with my radio abilities. And I'll tell you something, a lot of people were wondering, because I was autistic, how was I able to be multitasking? And I think the best answer I can give to anybody who's in that situation or knows somebody in that situation is the fact that when you love something so much, you kind of break the cycle, you break the ice, and you're able to expand your horizons and really reach for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And where a lot of people would shed a lot of doubt and would say, oh, you know, you'll never succeed. And look, I was told, Sheldon, you'll never get into radio. Sheldon, you'll never do this. Sheldon, you'll never do that. Same thing with my parents were said, your son is not going to graduate. My parents refused to believe that. My mother worked very, very hard. My parents worked very, very hard. They were amazing people to that point. I give them all the credit in the world, because if it wasn't for them, I would not be where I am now. And and the thing was, when I first applied for radio, I was this small little person facing big companies and trying to apply, and I refused to take no for an answer, and I refused to let anything or anyone stand in my way. And I did it, and I'm still proud to say that I'm still in the industry for 30 years. Jeff, just going to ask you just to mute your mic if you're moving anything, because we're hearing it. So mute your mic if you're adjusting your camera.
Just hang on. Comment. Hearts Love had a comment. She said that sucks because social norms are boring. It sucks when people are judged for being different.
Yeah.
I've been the weird person for different reasons. Yeah, I hear you. We all hear you here, Hearts. You're in the right place. And she said, roof was a staple in her home. And we're both doing very well. And she's also said friends and family are the family you choose. Now, we heard that Sheldon's family.
That's right. Yeah.
We heard that Sheldon's family.
That's right. Sure.
Was working with him to help him deal. Jeff, yours is a little different because you've never had an official assessment or diagnosis as a child. So
my parents didn't really understand and sometimes we're talking with other like relatives or like in-laws of my brother, that I'm quiet. I'm just, he's quiet. He doesn't, they said like he doesn't doesn't speak unless spoken to. I never volunteered to say anything. Like I was like in high school, English class, I shied away. I was withdrawn from participating and volunteering any responses in the class. So same thing in social. I just felt socially awkward. I just felt very reticent to be more forward socially. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I remember you, Jeff, like in the early years when I was with Sheldon and when I first met you, and I remember you appeared shy, a bit withdrawn, socially. But then there were a couple of occasions you and I would message each other back and forth on Facebook talking about politics, which is something you and I are schooled in. And it was, for me, it was like, and I mean it, this isn't the most, it is positive. It was like talking to somebody completely different. It was like talking to somebody completely different. Like you and I would discuss politics, or we could discuss how Ayn Rand sucks. And it was like, this is where you shone, because we found the common ground of our interest in politics. But, it's very different in a social situation. You were
because I was always more adept at on an intellectual level, where politics is more intellectual theoretical level. I was more adept, and I was never really good at small talk and these like meaningless, mundane social niceties, whatever you want to call it. I was more only if it was something like on a highly intelligent level and intellectual that really like actually meant something, had any impact.
Okay.
So.
Okay, cool. Stephen has a question for all three of us. I'm waiting for him to post it. He asked if he could ask all three of us a question. I said he could. Well, I'm just waiting for him to type out his question. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, Stephen asks all three of us, is there a song that represents your psyche or attitude of life? And why don't we start with you, Jeff?
I don't know. There was, I don't know. It's just one song. There were different songs for different, periods of my life, and there was one song after I lost my brother to suicide, and I had made transition to living somewhere else, in Tucson, where I was really in an emotional precarious state of mind, and my life was not. I didn't really feel secure. My life was not stable because I had no grounding there. I know. Like stability, grounding there, to make a life there. I was on very shaky ground. So I would say it have to be like the song by, I think it's Aerosmith.
Oh.
Living on the Edge.
Mm-hmm. That's Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Okay. He wants to know, I'm sorry about your brother, Jeff. Steve asked specifically now, he wants now in your current state of mind, what would be the song that represents your attitude of life currently?
I would say like Born to Be Wild.
Steppenwolf. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf, yeah.
Yeah.
Shell, what's yours?
I think what comes to mind is "You've Got a Friend" by James Taylor.
That's a nice one, yeah.
Because when it says when you find yourself in oh no, sorry. Also, "Let It Be" is another one too. When you find yourself in times of trouble. But I would say "You've Got a Friend," I think, comes to mind right away. And
Okay.
I'll be there, and I'll be there, and I think that was a song, and I remember even that at camp. That was a song that was played back in camp when Jeff and I went to camp.
Yeah.
And I would say, yeah, you've got a friend. Yeah, and another one was from the Brotherhood of Man, "United We Stand."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from the Brotherhood of Man, "United We Stand, divided we fall."
Even as a child, when I was a very wee child,
Yeah.
and I didn't understand the lyrics, but I do remember the actual tune, hearing it on the radio or CKGM back in the day.
And I used to work at CKGM back in the day.
I know, but yeah, I remember that song sending shivers up my spine. Jeff, Stephen had a comment for you. He said his heart and his mind is with you about your brother, and he sends his best wishes and condolences.
Yeah, thank you. That's, I appreciate it.
And then, of course, he decided to thank you. And he also says, "You got a friend and let it be are totally cool," and he knows well. And I was older then, I'm younger than that now. That's from the Birds. Yeah, that's from the Birds. Now he also asked me what song appeals to my psyche attitude, so I've got to figure out an answer to that one too, because there are so many, and we wanted to know currently, so I'll try to answer it briefly. What's the song that? I would say, oh gosh. There's not one particular song that appeals to that is with my psyche. I like the song "Simple Man" by Leonard Skinner. It tells a story about leading. It's not one of Leonard Skinner's most famous, but it is my favorite from him. And it tells, she's like a parent telling her son, that to be a simple man, to lead a simple life, honestly,
Well, which to me, it reminds my relationship with my mother, which is really encapsulates to a certain extent my relationship with my mother and how she would speak to me.
Okay, but also I say there's a group. I love the Moody Blues in particular because it's very cerebral music to me. It has a certain impact. And I love all the songs that were not commercial, except for Question. Question had commercial success. But yeah, the lyrics, the music, the haunting music. So anything pretty much from the Moody Blues, except for the poppy modern stuff. So that answers my question. Yeah. Drama-free zone, simple life. Totally agree. Yay! Yeah, that's right, Steve. I think we're all on the same page here. We're trying as best we can to lead a drama-free life. Although I picked a bad medium, I picked to do YouTube, which can be problematic. But that's another topic for another time. We're not going to do that. So, anyways, feel free, anybody in the chat, if you've got questions, feel free to put them in, and either for Sheldon or for Jeffrey or both. And so, Jeff, so today in modern times, are you better with your relationships now that you're validated, you know what happened, you know why you are the way you are?
I'm learning. It's still a learning process for me, and just to not to be so insular inside myself, and to be more considerate of somebody else's needs. which I never had like a long-term intense relationship like I do now, and somebody who gave me as much attention and insights and care as the type of relationship I'm in now. So.
Okay. Shell?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think a lot of it, and I really have to give, maybe I'm over simplifying it or maybe over dramatizing it. I think the thing that really made me feel a lot more confident in myself in dealing with people, because I always used to have that problem many years ago, lack of confidence, is actually what I'm doing right now is radio, is going and basically just using my tunnel vision that I was always gifted with in the past, is to speak to people and just give my personality and to use that communication skill and to be able to bring more confidence as I keep doing what I'm doing. And I think that's really, really important. And I'm sure that's the same thing with you, Jeff. When you're going on stage, you're getting you're getting the feedback from your audience, you're getting the applause, you're getting the attention, you're getting the appreciation that you're making fun of certain things, you're joking around certain things, and the feedback comes back and it gives you more confidence. So it's a snowball effect, because once you're going out there and look, I remember when I was at Videotron English language community television, and I went in front of a camera, and I never did that before in my life, and I was scared to bits. I mean, if you thought radio was bad, or when I was first starting out with radio, when you have to go in front of a camera, and it's not like you can look away, like if you're reading a script from radio, you could look away here, look away there. But when you're in front of a camera and that light is on, you have to look right at the camera. Your eyes cannot skip. You can't look up. You can't look down. You have to look right at it. So you're forced to look right at it. And originally, it was one of the toughest things I think I ever had to do. And it's the same thing, like, when you're talking to people, you're looking straight at them. You're not looking down. You're not looking to the side. You're looking straight at people. And that's what it forces you to do. And in the interim, it makes you get more confidence. It makes you believe in yourself, and it keeps snowballing for the better. And you know what? It was going into this profession that I'm in now. Like I said before, if that does not give me any urge of confidence and to be able to go and do what I want to do, and to have the confidence to be able to do what I want to do and do what I love to do and do what I wanted to do since high school, I don't know what will.
Okay.
I think I owe that a lot to what I'm doing, for sure.
Oh, cool. Jeff, Steve had a question for you. All right. He had a question for you. It is, do you know or have you heard of the 5 most dangerous questions in the universe? He told me what they were a long time ago, but unfortunately, I'm having a lapse of memory. So let's see, maybe Jeff,
No.
No? Okay. Oh,
I wouldn't go there. It's too dangerous.
It's too dangerous? Oh, Steve.
Is it who, what, where, and who, what, where am I? How am I?
I reached the age where, I want to try to avoid danger. I learned how to avoid danger because I've experienced it enough in my in my lifetime, and so.
Okay, hang on. Stephen is posting the answers for us. Okay, and question number 1 is, who am I? Question number 2 is, what do I want? Question number 3 is, who do I serve? Number 4 is, who do I trust? And number 5, where am I going? So those are the 5 most dangerous questions of the universe. And yeah, I would have to say I agree with them. Do you?
Where am I going? I think my mind was gone a long time ago.
I don't know. Do you agree, Jeff, with these 5 questions being the most dangerous in the universe?
Well, it's not easy questions.
No, that's why they are the most dangerous. Yeah, I guess those
No.
are the most
Who am
dangerous.
I? Who am I? There's different ways there's a lot of different ways of answering that question. Who am I? You
Sure.
know, a person with a person who wants to live his life in joy and happiness and spread that joy and happiness to as many people as I can. Very simple, you know. And that's what gives meaning to the life, to my life in general, you know.
Yeah, those are questions I still haven't. I mean, what, I'm 52 years old now, just turned. Ugh. And I still am. I mean, I know who I am, but do I like who I am? Do I want to be who I am? And if I don't like who I am, is it because societal norms reject that, or is that real?
Yeah.
Those are questions I ask myself. I suppose it's a little bit of everything. And the second question, what do I want? Well, I know what I want, but I'm not going to get into that now. I'm not going to get into that now. I want a lot of things, but I'm not going to get into that now. Who do I serve at this time? No one, pretty much. No one. I'm pretty much a lone wolf. Who do I trust? And trust is, that's always a hard one,
But really, that's who do you serve is that really we serve ourselves. You serve your own desires, your own truth. That you know deep down inside. That's what you're serving, not somebody else's truth, not something you learned in school, not somebody else that someone tells you or you get in the media. It's your own digging deep down inside you, inside your soul. What you know in your heart to be the truth. This is what you serve, and this is what you need to serve to live a healthy life.
Good, well answered. It's better than I could have done. Sheldon, we're still on the topic. Who do you serve?
Who do I serve? Well, I serve myself supper every night, so that's getting breakfast. Let's see. Who do I trust? Well, I trust myself, and I trust the people that are very close to me. Like I would trust Jeff, I would trust Alina, trust you, CK. Who am I? That's I've looked at my driver's license, still haven't come up with that answer, Steve. Sorry about that. What do I want? Basically, a full-time job and to get back on my feet again. Let me see. Where am I going? I guess basically I'll say, where am I going? Mind blown, Sheldon. Yes, Steve. That's probably exactly where I'm going for my mind to be blown. No, just kidding. Where am I going? Not sure. Not sure about those questions. But those questions are very, very interesting because it's, every day is always a learning experience.
But you don't really have to know where you're going. You just go.
Yeah.
Because the question of, if you're stuck on the question of where I'm going, you won't go anywhere. You just go.
It's basically like I'm in neutral, and I have to start going in one direction. Yeah.
This is what I find, because in my experience in encountering a lot of young people, and being a mentor and so forth, this is one of the major questions that causes a great deal of anxiety in young people. Where am I going? Where am I going? Like, you have to have a direction. You have to have the answers now. But you're not going to solve all the world's problems in one day.
No.
And it's not a question you really even have to worry about. Just do what you want to do, what your passion is, and what you know to be right.
Yeah.
That's good with what you do, because you have that passion of what you're doing, Jeff. I have the passion doing what I want to do. So that's good, because a lot of people sometimes don't have that passion, or they are really stuck because they're really not sure where they're going. You know where you're going. I know where I'm going. I think, CK, you've been doing a lot of these YouTube videos. You're going in you're going in a good direction. You're going dealing with mental health, dealing with mental issues. So you're forming a direction of where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So I think in all due respects, I think all of us are, yes, obviously are going in different directions, but at least we have a mission to go and to actually put the gear in drive, as opposed to staying in neutral or in park.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he also asked in the part where the survey, who do you serve? He also asked, because you both said talk about serving yourselves, and you both gave great answers, but he was asking about friends and family. How do you feel? Do you feel that you serve your friends and family, or do you feel that you should, or do you feel that you shouldn't?
I'll let you start, Jeff.
Well, I mean, it has to be a two-way street in that respect. The friends have to also serve you. The family doesn't serve you, you can't serve your family. If your friends don't serve you, you can't serve your friends. So it's not like you're beholden to anybody, whether it be a friend or somebody in your family, that you're obliged to be servant. You're not to be a servant. You're not obliged to serve them because mere fact that they're friends or your family. They also have to serve you. So.
Okay, no, I would agree with that. There's no right or wrong answers. We're not solving the world's universe. The questions are out there, and so it's all something to think about. There is a reason why these 5 questions would be the most dangerous to ask in the universe, because they are difficult questions to answer, and they do require that you look hard inside yourself and be honest, like not just with everybody else, but to be honest with yourself from within, right? Yeah, that's right, Stephen. It is a two-way street of respect. Absolutely. Like in my case, I don't have much of a family. My father passed away years ago. I'm not really close with my mother or my brother, so I don't serve them. For me, I don't feel that I serve them. I have few friends, and yes, I do I do try to serve them as best I can. So in my case, I'm often afraid of, probably because of the fact that I don't have a family, really. What few friends I do have, maybe I tend to overcompensate. But yeah, sorry. So I'm only mentioning that because I think Steve meant the question for all 3 of us. But like I said, I am not on the autism spectrum. I was born with developmental delays, and that included the social, as among other things.
Yeah, we tend to keep the friends who serve a purpose in our lives as we get older. Certain friends you won't be friends with anymore because they've outlived their usefulness. Then it's time to move on. You see.
Yeah.
But the ones that you keep for many, many years are there because they mean something special to you. They serve a certain special purpose to you in your life. So.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I mean, especially as we get older, it's a lot harder. I mean, you both are unique in the way that you've both been friends since the age of 10. You're both 60 years
Before
old.
then, yeah, since we're 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
52 years, yeah.
Yeah, so you're both 60 now, and so that's.
Don't remind us that we're 60, huh?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. The bones creak. So believe you me, it's a constant reminder, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta pick up something.
At least we want to give people a kind of bird's eye view, a kind of flash, a picture of what 60 looks like. No, so don't freak out about getting old, getting aged.
Trust me, I'm freaking out now.
Don't worry. Don't freak out about it.
Yeah, but you know what? To go by what you were saying about as far as friendship and family, I think it's more of honoring. It's more of an honor to speak of. Like to have a friendship that I have with Jeff, it's an honor and a privilege because it's very few friends are like that. What Jeff and I have done in the past, Jeff probably knows me more than even, in many cases, more than my own immediate family knows me. Or just as close, because he and I went through everything together, through camp, through everything together. Growing up, 52 years, it's quite extraordinary. I mean, the next other people would be my sister, my brother, and my parents. I mean, that's what it is. And me being 60 years old, only an 8-year difference from when Jeff and I met 52 years ago. So the thing is, the way I look at it, it's an honor. It's an honor. It's a privilege. It's not something that I take and then I spit it out, making, like it's usefulness, because I don't believe in that. I believe that friendship is there thick and thin. The thing is, how many times have you seen that when people are really on, like, doing so well and very successful, or may it be money, prestige, or whatever the case is. Everybody wants to be their friend. And if something happens, they fall on hard times. All of a sudden, the people that you thought were your friends are gone, or they're completely gone. They're nowhere to be found, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Jeff and I never faltered. We never, you know, we were always there, always through thick and thin. There was never a change between my personality to Jeff or Jeff's personality towards me. When I fell on hard times, when I went through a lot of issues in the past, Jeff was unequivocally the same person as he was then as he is now. And that to me speaks volumes of any kind of a friendship. And, you know, when he and I understand, the thing is, the success that Jeff and I have is the fact that we understand each other. We understand.
Actually,
totally.
we went through the same crisis, but 20 years apart.
Yeah.
Like Sheldon went through his 20 years after me. So I was pretty much aware, and I knew, understood what he was going through, because I lived the same experience as he did, went through the same struggle and challenges that he did on that level, you know.
Yeah, I would say so. So you were both, and I think it's amazing, you know, because you both grew up differently. You were different from other children. Jeff, you talked about being, you know, pretty much flying under the radar in class at school because you were quiet and such. And Sheldon spoke of his difficulties at school too. I did a video about my own difficulties. I'll add the link to that in the pinned comment. It's called I Always Knew I Was Different. I'll put that in the pinned comment later when we're done with the stream. But this is something we can all.
But I became pretty much a fixture in the Freed family. They took me in as one of their own. I have to say, his parents, not only his parents, his sister, brother, sister-in-law were great. They accepted me as part of the family.
That's cool.
Which was a fantastic experience, really.
Yeah. Heart's Love says, I think people do lose friends for other reasons too, but it's nice to see people support one another for so long. And yeah, you're so right, Hearts. You're so right.
There's no question, Hearts, that, you know what, that's like I said, it's not a question of you have to do something. Friendship is something based on you want to do something, and it comes naturally to the heart, to the soul. That's what it's all about. Because, you know, for me to say it's a duty or no, it's more of a feeling. It's more of it's the right thing to do. And I think the thing is, with a lot of what society really has major problems with is it's a very artificial and a very cold place in the world.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that people have to get back to the roots. And Jeff and I never forgot the thing is, and I've said this in so many times on Facebook postings and everything, Jeff and I realized we came in very comfortable families, but Jeff and I never lost our sense of value. Jeff and I never lost our sense of meaning. Jeff and I never lost the sense of how we were raised, where we coming from, and to help our fellow human being. And that's the difference, where a lot of people are very artificial, and right away people, you know, they get raised properly with their parents, and all of a sudden they go into a minefield, or they go into a different dimension entirely, and they completely forget, and they turn into somebody that is way different than when they were first raised up. And Jeff and I never lost where we came from. Jeff and I never changed.
Absolutely.
We never forgot we never forgot the lessons and the values that our parents instilled in us.
Yeah.
And that was very important. We took it to heart. We honestly took it to heart, and we
fast forward to your comedy career, Jeff. Fast forward to your comedy career. What are your themes of your jokes? Are they about being on the spectrum or finding out late? Are they about your childhood? Are they about your life professionally?
I have some Well, I have some jokes about. Some of my jokes are like being on the spectrum, especially in the first few weeks or couple of months after I started doing it. A lot of my jokes was spectrum and relationship with the current woman I'm living with now. You know, it doesn't always go over that well. People don't find it really, really that funny. It's sometimes it's type of things like you have to be there kind of joke. So it doesn't, you know, it's not something that everybody laughs at. It doesn't go over really that well. But I'm versatile as I find as an entertainer. I'm versatile in different kinds of material I can use. I take on different personalities or personas that I can take on because it's, you know, I'm versatile. I have a broader range of talent than a very broad range of talent in that respect.
Okay. So now are you finding it easier to go on stage and performing in front of people? Are you finding that easier as you go, like each time you go?
Yeah. Yeah, things I can relate to, people I can relate to, and I make jokes about. And most recently was like Greta Thunberg and the whole climate thing. I make light of it. I make jokes about it, but really is like, you know, her. I can relate to her mental condition of being Asperger's in terms of being so dedicated to a social cause and being so like on fire for social justice, which it's the same with me. So, and it's not something that everybody can handle. In fact, very few people can really handle it. And it's very hard. I mean, it's very hard for the woman I'm living with, especially. It's very, very hard for her to handle, you know. So
Heart Love has another question or comment. She says, I've learned from stand-up, you often have to rewrite and learn from there. How did you figure out stand-up or learn how to do it?
It's more of a natural thing for me. It came sort of naturally. You know, I'm good at writing material. I'm a good comedy writer. I'm a good writer in general. So write material. I try not to be too stiff and regimented about my routines and my material, and just be more like not rigid or anything, but just be more like flexible and more like improvise where appropriate, and just go organize in a certain stream, or just, you know, I can intuitively put together material where I think that's going to work for a particular audience that I'm going to be standing in front of. So that's a plus for me.
Okay. Sheldon, you've been asked to do stand-up comedy by other people.
You know what? I never really thought about going into stand-up comedy because, you know, I'm in contact with many comedians, especially to that and Just for Laughs, and I've heard a lot of stories, and, you know, it's I guess the best person is like when Jeff told me originally he was going into stand-up comedy. I thought that was amazing because I thought here's a perfect way, a perfect venue, a perfect, you know, slot lane to be able to really convey all your emotions and a lot of stuff. Because you know, like what people don't realize, when Jeff and I were together, he and I would joke all the time, and this was way before he decided to go into comedy. He and I would joke around. When we go away. One time we went to Miami. We were joking around on the plane. You know, like we went to so many places, and we would joke around, kibitz around about certain things, or I would take a situation, joke around about things. But I never pictured myself really going in front of a stage, on a stage, and doing it. Because to me, it comes naturally. It's like I don't know if I'd be comfortable in having a whole bunch of people in front of me while I try to figure out something to make them laugh. Like you know, in radio, it's different because radio, there could be hundreds of thousands of people listening and you don't know who they are, but they're not in front of you.
No.
You know, they're not in front of you. But when there's a comedian or an MC that's performing, like let's say Natasha, Jeff, all the other people that I know that are on the comedy circuit, and they go in front of people. And for anybody that thinks that comedy is easy, it's not easy. And the thing is, the most important thing is when you have your back.
You have to be. You really have to be fearless. You have to be.
Yeah, you have to be, sure.
But,
and I see it.
Let go of all your inhibitions.
It's like radio too. When I go in front of a mic, I got to be fearless. I can't be scared, because if I'm scared, I'm going to sound scared. And the same thing when you do comedy. If you're gonna be scared, you're going to sound scared.
Yeah.
So I mean, but the thing is, you know, one of the biggest things are, and this is what you and I have in common, because our job is being with the public, is in the public eye. You know, my name is on the radio. I'm on the radio. Jeff, you're in the comedy. You're on the different advertisements and billboards on different things. And, you know, when we go in front, it's like we have to give it our all. We have to sound like we're talking to people. On radio's a little harder to that point, because radio, you have to visualize somebody in front of you. But when a person is performing in front of an audience, you have your audience in front of you. But at the same time, it's harder too, because they're looking at you. They're watching you perform.
Okay.
So,
just a second. Stephen had a comment. He said radio is one-way communication. Stand-up comedy is a two-way communication. All right. Jeff, over to you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, there's kind of like a tacit communication, respect of that you're delivering material and you're getting certain responses, so that communicate, you know, approval or disapproval, or, you know, they like something, they'll laugh or smile or something, you know, you get really, you know, jazz them up. I tapped into certain ways of how to kind of like rile people up, get them excited. The more energy you put out as a performer, the more you're going to get back. So.
Okay, over to you, Shell. Your turn.
Well, the thing is, in one aspect, Steve is right that it's one-way communication, but also you got to remember, you're also doing a service. You're providing a service to the community. And in respect, the community responds back in, let's say, for example, if you're doing a public service announcement, if you're promoting a cause, if you're promoting an issue, it is a two-way communication. If it's talk radio, it is two-way communication, because you're speaking with the audience and the audience is calling you back. If you're interviewing somebody in the news, if you're going live, and you're talking to a reporter, it is two-way communication.
True.
So you know, it depends. I mean, it is definitely, you know, it could be one or two communications, but in many cases, it's actually two-way communication, because also I'm communicating with somebody if I'm doing news and traffic, but they're also giving them information, because radio is about information.
True.
And
Stephen was referring to heckling. He was referring to hecklers.
I was cough heckled at a club, at the Wheel Club, actually, country bar, and it was first time heckled. I was cough heckled, which it was quite funny, you know. And so, you know, just like you have to not stand too much in resistance, like sort of like go with the flow. There's kind of like a zen of it, to like sort of like that you go into it, and then so you could like get out of it, sort of, you know. So, you know, like I said, my remark was like, okay, nothing to sneeze at, but something to cough at, you know. Okay. So that's how I handle it. So,
okay. That's cool. Yeah. And Steve, for you, Sheldon, this is more from Steve. He said the aspect of your DJing, you're always under scrutiny. Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know what? Radio and comedy, you're always under scrutiny. Like if you think about it, radio, you know, especially if you're doing live radio, as Eminem would say in 8 Mile, you have one shot to get it right. You have this opportunity, you have one shot to get it right. You know, I mean, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. But you know what? It's people have a certain demand in the arts industry, which is, you know, they pick the best of the best, supposedly what they say, and you have to be at your best. You have a lot riding on what you do. And especially in big markets like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, you got big markets. It's very highly competitive. It's and you know, there's a tremendous amount of pressure in the industry, in comedy, in radio industry, and television, and all broadcast media, and all the arts industry as a rule. There's a tremendous amount of competition. You're always under scrutiny all the time. But you know what? You do the best you can. And that's what I would say to anybody going into this business. I'm sure you would say it in the comedy too. You do the best you can. You try to have as much fun as you possibly can with it. And also feel that, you know what, you're privileged to work in the industry. Do the best you can. Rely on your instincts. Rely on your good, solid instincts of why you got here and why you were selected to do what you have to do. And that's the best thing that would get to anybody.
Because now, like, there's new talent. I think probably this is true also in radio or TV. There's new talent coming in, so there's a lot of competition. It's people
Tremendous.
just
like more now than it's ever been, and now with social media too.
Yeah. So I mean, the tendency is to go with the young talent. You know, the older talent is not seen in the same way.
No.
So it's like, you know, the cars coming off the assembly line, the shiny new cars get the most attention.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you and I are the Ford Model T, bro.
So, but we have to brand ourselves differently. We have to carve out our own niche in what we do.
Well, it's the same thing for me doing YouTube. I have to carving out a niche. Me, you know, it's social commentary from a marginalized Gen Xer, and it's apt. I mean, I talk a lot about mental health, but I also talk about, you know, addiction recovery, the neurodivergent, such as those on autism spectrum, like we're doing this evening. Oh yeah, and Stephen also made a comment. He said, "Be naked, have fun, make it funny." Well, I don't think we're going to do a striptease tonight because
no.
I think YouTube will.
No, it's just wrong, people. It's just wrong. Really wrong.
YouTube will put the cattle down.
I think YouTube would be like Mission Impossible. It's self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Oh, please. I got a copyright a few days ago. I don't need another strike on me. Oh, my goodness. But we are having fun. We're trying to make it funny at the same time. There's a bit of funny and serious. I think we're well balanced. Stephen also adds, young talent equals cheaper equals malleable to what management wants.
Well, you know what? Stephen is right on the money. Yeah.
That's very true. And what I found is the producers and promoters will easily exploit the exploitable. No. These kids coming in who want for stage time, they'll do almost anything, and they're exploited. They're not getting anything out of it. It's for the benefit of the ones who've been in the business and you know, who are managing the shows. There is exploitation. You know.
No, there is. Well, Steve, I get it was a metaphor. We're just teasing over here. I get that it was a metaphor. But yeah, back to exploitation. Speaking of which, people with mental illness, people also on the autism spectrum, we can encompass all of that. Have either of you ever felt exploited either in your personal lives or in your work, your professional lives, because of your conditions, because of the way you are?
For me, my professional life, no. And I can't even say. And in my personal life, well, I lost a lot of friends because I was this non-sociable person in school. I was not popular. I was more like, and I remember the day that I first went into junior high. And this is something I'd like to share with all of you. And that was basically, I was given a tour in from one of the students that took me around. And I saw on his face, like he saw this, quote, nerd coming into school, meaning me. And I could see that his eyes were rolled back, and he didn't want to take me for a tour into the school.
Oh,
He was trying to be nice, but I saw in his face like, oh my God, why are you asking me, type of thing. And he would take me in, and I would see like right away. The teachers were extremely nice, and I was lucky that when I went into junior high, I needed the smaller classes and individual attention because I had a lot of problems. And when I was taken into these classes, I was, I was bullied a little bit, but not physically bullied, except for one instance, but was more mental stuff. But eventually, as I got into their radio thing, and when I got into their high school radio station, it helped me build up confidence to deal with people. And then I said to myself, and I remember one day, I'll never forget this. Literally, I came home because I was really upset the way I was being treated by my fellow students.
mm-hmm.
And I remember from one day to another, I'll never forget this. It was like a metamorphosis. I don't know what made me change, but I said to myself, Sheldon, why do you feel that you're inferior to anybody? You're inferior to nobody. And you know what? You're not superior to anybody, but you're not inferior either. You have a heart, you have feelings, you have skin, bones, flesh, a heart that beats, lungs that breathe. You have feelings. Why should you feel that you're inferior? Why should you feel that you don't belong? Why should you feel that you're a burden on people at school? Go in, do well, work. If you have a problem, go to your teachers. Your teachers have been nice. And I remember having this, and the next day I went in and there was a bit of a change. And basically, when people didn't want to dismiss me, I basically said, you know what? Too bad. And I said, you know what? I'm better than you are because I'm not the one who has the attitude. I'm not the one who has the problem. You're the one who has the problem. The heck with you. I'm going to go and do my own thing. And then I started, like when I started getting into grade 9, grade 10, went to teachers, worked very hard, and passed my high school, got my high school leaving certificate. And because my marks were suffering back then because I was really low mentally, and I also felt like it was affecting my grades. I tried to study, but I just didn't have the proper grand scheme of things to be able to go in with that attitude. And one day I just got in, worked hard with my teachers, and graduated. Then when I got to CJEP, I by the time I went from grade 10, grade 11, I had a great spectrum of friends. I started going out, started socializing. Then when I went to CJEP and everything, and I shared a locker with 5 to 6 other girls.
Mm-hmm.
No, I wasn't seeing all of them. No, I wasn't seeing them all at the same time.
Were you?
No. And Alina knows. My girlfriend knows. Trust me. But the thing was, I was socializing, socializing with different people, whatever. And I was very comfortable in my own skin. Did a radio show in Dawson. Graduated there. Then I was going to go into McGill HR, and then all of a sudden this funny career of radio came along for 25 years. Got into radio. Then when I left radio, went back to human resources, got my certificate of human resources management. Now I'm back in the radio industry part-time on a replacement. So it's amazing how these things work out. But you know what? It really gave me a lot of confidence to deal with things. And now my basic grand scheme of things, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And I basically go up and say, you know what? I'm Sheldon Eric Freed. I'm 60 years old. You like me? Fantastic. You don't like me? I'll go to somebody else. I have plenty of friends. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I really don't care what people think about me. If they have negative to think about me, that's their problem. I know I'm a nice person. I know I'm a giving person. That's what's more important. That's what's more important than anything else.
This is true, because you know what, kids? Before we come on, Muffin Jewel just joined us. Muffin Jewel is Jennifer. I've known her for several years now, so if you can say hello to Jennifer briefly.
Hello, Jennifer.
Yeah. So yeah, Jennifer may be collabing with me at some point down the road. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but yeah.
But I want to say, you know, Sheldon and I, we had a different high school experience because West Hill High School was a public school as opposed to a private school, and you had students from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Me, you know, living in Hampstead and having the friends that I have, I was part of a clique who was, we were privileged kids. We came from affluent families, which wasn't the norm for the vast majority of students in the school. So, you know, there's some really tough kids there, seriously, and some of them, that there was some resentment of the fact that, you know, we had more, we were more fortunate, more privileged, had an easier time of things as kids growing up, and they came from lower middle class or working class families where, their perspectives of the parents and the life was, they didn't have as much. So there was tensions, there was socioeconomic tensions, you know, aside from, no, I'm not talking about racial tensions, but, you know, even blacks didn't always get along. But I mean, you know, some of these kids, most of them were like, came from hard lower middle class or working class families, and they were raised to be very tough. And I had certain bullies, and one or two of them who were older than me. I was tested because I was taller than the average kid my age, so I was challenged and tested. As it was, well, I intimidated the big kid, or I beat up the big kid, you know, like that sort of game. So I was challenged. I had to be tough. I had to put on a tough act and toughen up. And, you know, and sometimes when it was a kid a lot bigger than me, I didn't want to, you know, engage with him for fear I would actually get hurt. So I had to, you know, not engage in any kind of violent confrontation. So
yeah, I understand. I don't handle confrontation well myself, so
yeah.
I totally relate. I still can't handle confrontation, and every time I try to confront, because I believe somebody should be held to account, it usually doesn't end well. So, you know, in my old, it gets tougher, you know. It gets tougher with that. So yeah, self-preservation, exactly, Hearts. And Stephen said earlier, fight the power, baby, fight the power. Yeah, I'm trying. I think we're all trying.
You know, I was lucky too when I went to high school. I went to school with the Molsons and the Brofmans, and I used to see cars pulling up, limousines pulling up, and it was really a really strange phenomenon because, I mean, yes, I was lucky that I was brought up in a very nice family, and I was well provided for. And, you know, when you start seeing these people, and it's just amazing when you associate with these people and go up, sometimes you go into these people's homes and everything like that. And you know, and then I figured, you know what, and I said to myself, they're just the same as I am. You know, they have feelings, they have whatever, but, you know, and obviously they have difficult lives. It's not as easy as you think, because, you know, and people don't realize
DJ'd
that.
a party once. We DJ'd a party once for this kid who lived in the Westbound, lived in a huge house in Westbound. It was, you know.
Oh boy, I remember that party.
Oh
yeah, Jeff, thank you.
And I was like, I lost control of myself. So,
Yeah, I'm not saying much about that party because in case people are watching, I am not going to say anything more about that party.
With an age restriction, you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just going to keep. This is the parental guidance. Yeah.
When you're 17,
Oh no.
17, you're stupid and you're growing up, and
Oh yeah.
things like that happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm not saying, as Schultz would say in Hogan's Heroes, I know nothing. I say nothing because I'm going to be in trouble, especially if my family hears this. So I'm just leaving it. I'm leaving that alone, people. But you know, like
really, like the girls in those days weren't probably not as brash and empowered as the ones in high school these days.
Oh yeah. Now
like,
it's
they're raised a certain way that if they couldn't handle like male aggressivity, like a lot of girls probably not.
Now in many cases, male can't handle
run
female.
away. If it's just like, oh, this guy, I'm worried about this guy or afraid of this guy. Like they would just sort of like shy away or run away,
But you know what? But you know what's amazing? When I was talking about also rich people in school and everything like that, I learned a really valuable lesson when it came to the business of radio. Is that protecting yourself by reputation and protecting yourself in terms of. I remember when I first got hired on my first radio job, and I never thought about anything because I was not an announcer. And they said, Sheldon, I'm telling you this now, you probably don't know it, but you're going to have to get an unlisted number and do not put your name in the phone book. And I said, well, why? Because I'm not an announcer. They said, your name is going to be on the air constantly.
Yeah.
And I didn't, you don't realize it. Then you just say like the power of the media is such, like it's really incredible, and with Facebook, you also got to be careful what you post, and you got to be careful with a lot of things. And it's like,
your second wife came from a groupie who contacted you on the radio.
Let's put it this way. That's another thing. I'm not talking about that either.
Yeah, which I mean,
back in the high school teaching, and my
usually doesn't end too well.
No, sorry, Bob. And there were actually other stories, but I didn't meet them. But I remember there was working at CKGM back in 1984, which was a top 40 radio station. It was the station at that time. And I remember girls used to call up the station all the time. So girls always wanted to get together with us because we're this person on the radio, and that, and everybody thinks we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, which is such a stigma. It's not even funny. And I remember they wanted to see, and I used to hear people that would work at the radio station that would go and get together with some of these girls, and they would have bad experiences. And I remember somebody wanted to get together with me, and I said, no, thank you. And she said, really, let's meet, whatever. So I said, sure. But when she asked me what I was going to wear, I gave them a different set of clothes. I gave them, like I said, I had hair down on my shoulders and stuff like that. Because I didn't want to be recognized by her. I go down to the place and I take a look, and not only was she there, but she had a friend in the Hells Angels.
Oh no.
And there was a dozen motorcycle people all wearing black leather jackets. So I was So I basically kept my cover under the radar, so to speak, and she never saw me. Thank God. It was just. But you hear some real, very scary situations of many people. And look, I remember there was one movie. I don't know if you've heard of it. There was a movie actually based on a true story called Talk Radio, and it was about a person that was out of Texas that was a very, shall we say, a really, very insulting to their listeners. And one of the listeners pretty much got fed up with the person. And one time the person left the studio, was going home, person met him with a handgun and shot him in the head twice. Yeah. And there's a movie called Talk Radio. And I believe the actor's name was Eric Borgwine. He was in Law and Order as one of the top dogs in going back years ago. But that was based on Shock Jock is right, Steve. Yeah, and that was a person that really, you never know what you're dealing with when it comes to on the air with the media. Yeah, Eric Bogosian. That's right. Yeah. And I don't know if you saw it, Stephen, but if you haven't, you should take a look at that movie. Might be on Netflix, I don't know, but it's called Talk Radio.
Yeah. Now, I think I saw that years ago myself. I just don't remember the story.
And Sheldon was just like working behind the scenes. He wasn't a DJ or announcer for DJs who they reach like kind of celebrity status. And like women are so attracted to that.
Yeah, but you know what? Even the people behind the scenes, even if they don't hear you, but your name keeps getting mentioned, it's amazing because sometimes I
get that building.
And they ask me my name and they say, "Well, I've heard you on the radio." And I was working for the same company for 25 years before I was let go, and now I'm working for another small station. But it's on the radio. And I remember when I had a job working at an accounting company, full-time job. And when I took a few days off, when my contract was paused from that company, I worked at the other job because the shift opened up and I worked at the radio station. And I came in on the following Monday and they said, were you on the air? And I said, yeah. They said, I heard your news and traffic. And I came off, okay. And they said, were you on the air? And I said, yeah. I said, I heard you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Sound?
No, I hear you.
Jeff, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Because I thought I lost the sound for a second.
No, because I also heard the sound back, what I just said.
There's feedback. It echoed back.
Yeah, if somebody has a YouTube thing open, close it.
Yeah, that was probably me. Yeah. Steve says, never put your ID out to the public to troll you because.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stephen, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is probably the best advice, especially in this day and age of social media. I would say that's the best advice, and I think all of us are.
You're vulnerable. You could be very vulnerable in social media.
Yeah.
Okay. It's true. It's true. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's yes. Steve Sheldon went bye for a second. Yeah, Hart says it's better now. Steve, are you getting? Sorry, I apologize. Technology is grand, but only when it works. Oh, Stephen, I never used my real name even with my family.
So it's Robert Stephen. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's his name, Robert Stephen. It's
Robert Stevenson actually is his real name. Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Stevens. It's that's his real name. Oh shit, we gave his real name. Oh. We gave his real name. Okay. Sorry, Robert. Sorry, Robert. So yeah, what were we talking about before all this kerfuffle happened? Because I have a sieve head for a memory these days.
No, well, basically, like Jeff was saying about the situation in social media, that you really got to watch yourself, and I could see it now, and especially when it used to be before social media, unless you did a remote and you were actually out in the public eye, you would just be a name and that was it. Nobody would know or anything. But now with social media, if you're posting, if you're doing a lot of things like that, you're also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephen said the name Robert Stevens. That was his food review pseudonym.
Oh, okay.
When he was in college, when he was in university, he wrote food reviews, I believe.
I see.
Feel free to correct here if my memory is failing me again.
What'd you just say?
Call him Eric Clapton. He wants to be called Eric Clapton.
Okay.
He wants to be called Eric Clapton now. Okay, Eric, that's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, yeah, you don't want to be doxxed. Hi, Eric. You don't. No, none of us wants to be doxxed. No. None of us wants to be doxxed. So yeah, okay. So brain freeze. Brain freeze. What was I gonna ask? You know what? You two. Either. Oh God, I'm having a brain freeze right now. Do you two want to jump in? Talk.
Quick, what's your name?
It's a C and a K.
Straight talking Fedora chick coming at you? Okay. All right.
Straight talking Fedora.
Yeah. Okay.
YouTube channel is longer. I remember that better. That's sad. That's sad when I remember the name.
Don't forget to subscribe so every time CK uploads, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, exactly. And please leave a thumbs up on the way out the door. No, okay. So we're gonna be. We've been on for almost 2 hours.
Yes.
So we'll be here for another few minutes, and we're not going to be here that much longer. Do any of you have any questions, Eric? The half a B. Do any of you have any questions? Hart says, I think it's the cool glasses club tonight instead of the cool hat club. LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Hearts. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways. Yeah. So, anyways. So, is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about? Jeff, we'll go to you. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to mention?
Just that, like, whenever you're in the public eye, you put yourself in a potentially vulnerable position because, and now with technology the way it is, with social media and posting and the posts and the kind of the dialogues, the type of dialogues, especially when in political arena, when it's things, it could get in heated discussions when it gets like really, really emotional, and as people take it personally. So if they don't agree with you, they don't like what you say. It's as though it's a personal assault on them. So it gets kind of carried away. It heats up, and we have the technology to reach more people through the computer today than we ever did before, and so there's like you're open for that. You're open for attacks, and you're potentially vulnerable when you put yourself out there.
Okay. This is true. This is all true what you say. I mean, I know. I mean, people ask me before I did YouTube, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself in front of a camera? And even my mother mentioned a long time ago, wouldn't you think you should do podcasting instead? You shouldn't be in front of a camera. And you know what? No, YouTube, I found, yeah, it has had its downs. It's had a lot of downs. But you know what? It's had its ups too. It's had more ups than downs, and I'm enjoying YouTube. There are some videos I find harder to do than others, but overall I did it because I found my world was a little too small and I wanted to expand it. I want to tell my stories and all that. Understate the true news, propagate real fake news. Yeah, okay. But yeah, but back to it seriously. So that's, it's we are putting ourselves out there, and I'm glad that we are, because the more we put ourselves out there, and especially those of you on the autism spectrum, like Jeff, like Sheldon, more so for Jeff, I think, where it is hard to socialize and it's hard to communicate. You put yourself out there through your stand-up comedy. Sheldon does it through radio. So I think those are different challenges that you face, which I think is quite well. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people don't understand YouTube, and Yeah, a handle Messiah. No, I told you, Steve. Yeah, you keep it up, keep it going. So yeah, I would agree with that. Shell, what about you? What's your takeaway from?
The takeaway is mental illness. It's a real challenge to a lot of people, and especially to those who are experiencing it, and as well as the people around them, their families, their friends. It's a very difficult challenge to overcome. It's a very difficult challenge, especially with the bullying, especially with the people not understanding it. It's basically, the way I'm interpreting it, is a lack of understanding for people who have never been in situations like this. When I was burnt out, a lot of people didn't understand. I was out of work for 4 months, and a lot of people just did not understand it. Even people from my own immediate family. Some people did, some people didn't. And mental challenges to this very day, I basically don't feel like I have any kind of a mental, deficiency at all, or, and I don't feel that the autism has really gone me back. I'm taking it, I'm challenging it. My parents have taught me that as I was growing up, to say, listen, don't give up, pursue your dreams, pursue your confidence, have the confidence. You're intelligent, you're a good-natured person. Take your personality, take your attributes, meet these obstacles head on as much as you possibly can. Value your friends, value your family, value your loved ones. Don't take a back seat to anybody, no matter what the cause is. You're just as good, if not better, than anybody else. And the people that don't accept you, they're the ones that have these issues. It's not the people that are going through these things right now. And that's something I say to everyone. You have something, you have a role. Everybody has a role in life. Everybody has certain attributes. Take them. Use your challenge. Use your gifts. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a positive light, like a flame of a candle. Everybody has it. Use it. This world is a depressing place now. Go make it a better life. As you would see at the end of each YouTube video, CK, there's somebody's in need. Help them.
Yeah.
Even if have a shoulder for them to cry on, be there. Take them out for dinner. Take them out for coffee. Yeah. Have a nice meal, or have a phone conversation. Just to tell people out there, you're not alone. You don't have to be alone. There are people out there that care. Join a group. Make some wonderful friends. I'm lucky I have a wonderful friend, Jeff. Harness your friendships that you have. Harness the loved ones in your life. Harness what you are good at. Everybody's good at something. There's nobody that can say they're not good at anything. But always take each day, because when each day passes, thank God you got the heartbeat and the air in your lungs to take on another day. And yes, I have bad days like anybody else has bad days. But you try to take it, and you try to recharge the batteries, and the next day, take on the day. Go out, take a walk, enjoy the sunshine, try to put a positive light. Wake up in the morning, say, hey, I got something to look forward to today. Do something, go out, be involved. That's what I'd like to say to people. And the handicap is not the people that have mental illness. The handicap is the ignorance of people that are willing to accept and understand what people are going through. And you know what? There are people that are experiencing these type of things.
It's stigmatizing it and not.
It's very stigmatizing. Yeah.
It's stigmatizing it and not understanding it, and not showing any compassion towards it whatsoever. And that's the handicap it's a lack of caring. It's a lack of compassion. It's a lack of awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best way, I mean, we need to do more than just talk about it. I think, we get to know us, like you, for instance, and it was great to have both you, Sheldon and Jeff, on, because you got to allow us, the viewers, to get to know who you are. Not just the labels, not autism spectrum or mental illness, but we got to know who you both are to our audience. I know you both personally, but you got to, introduce yourself to my audience, to my subscribers. And this is all a great thing, because, get to know who we really are. There's too many freaking labels anyway. We are sacked with too many freaking labels.
Well, labels are also a handicap anyway.
This is true.
Because you know what, for me, I never ever to this day, and even when I first met Jeff, I never said to myself Jeff was different. I never said to myself anything. And I believe that Jeff never thought about me that way. I considered him a good-natured person. That's it. There was nothing else I was saying. It wasn't like I sympathized. It wasn't like that. Jeff is Jeff, and that's the way I looked at it. Jeff is as good, if not better, than anybody else. That's the type of person. I didn't look at it saying I feel sorry, or he's this, or he's this, or he's that. And the same thing, he felt that way to me. That he and I got into this relationship whereby that we just clicked. Period. Didn't make a difference of what we had in the past or what we had, what difficulties were facing us individually. We looked at each other and saying, we just hit it right on the head. It was a relationship that was good to go, good to happen. That's it. And that's the thing. And people right away start thinking, oh, this person's this person's that. And they start putting labels on it. Like you said, CK, they're the ones that have those issues. Because I'm not discussing also the fact that I was autistic, because I don't even view myself as autistic now. I view myself as anybody else out there. I don't feel myself any different. And I sure as heck don't feel inferior to nobody. I'm not inferior to anybody. I'm not saying that I'm superior to anybody either. I'm, but that's the way I am. I'm very well grounded. Jeff is extremely well grounded. And that's the message that I think we're both trying to bring to our audience that are watching this broadcast right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, do you have anything to add to that?
It's acceptance. We accepted each other and appreciated very much each other for who we are, for the kind of people we were, who we were, and like for throughout all high school, is like Sheldon was the only one outside the guys I went to school with who were friends, but they weren't really true friends, that I could really relate to, be close to. Otherwise, I feel very much alone, very much like the odd man out. If not for Sheldon, I would have gone through that. But we stood in solidarity with each other. We bound together. We exploited our commonalities, our common interests, in music and comedy and so forth. Sports, also to an extent, that it's made life more of a pleasure, more meaningful. That we helped us to accept ourselves and to accept others, and you kind of foster and cultivate greater, more highly attuned sensitivity and compassion for other people who are very challenged, the ones who would be like left behind, swept aside, and sort of overlooked. And but just I admire Sheldon very much for accepting people like that in relationships he had, to have the kind of heart that Sheldon had for people, with relationships that he had, friendships he had, and the intimate relationships he had. It was just like exceptional, really exceptional. and that's a very notable thing to mention. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Welcome to the Mutual Admiration Society. Yeah. The Mutual Admiration Society. Yeah. No, I mean, I can be lighthearted now, and that's important too. I mean, that's important too. So, yeah. So I think we're going to end this live stream like very shortly. We've been on for over 2 hours. It was a great conversation. And Jeff, I hope to see you back here. I hope we can I hope we can have you on again.
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I really hope we can have you on again. And
I'd love to come back on. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sheldon is always Sheldon is a regular fixture here. He's part of the furniture, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, old and scruffy and scratched up. Okay.
He's part of the furniture here at Talkin.
Okay. Yeah. File me down. Okay.
Yeah. So, thank you both for coming on and doing this with me. This has been a lot of fun, and it's I hope informative, and I hope you, the viewers, enjoyed it. Like I said, I put a long pinned comment on my previous live stream from earlier this afternoon. I'll leave a link to that in pinned comments below very shortly when I jump off. So I don't repeat myself. I am asking you, the viewers, the audience, in comments below, because I do not have a community tab, as I do not have 1,000 subscribers yet. So if you're new here, please subscribe. I would love to see you back on. That was great. Thank you, Jeff. And Sheldon is fantastic as well. See, Hearts Love loved you.
Thank you, Hearts Love. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone in the chat room that came on. Really appreciate it.
For all your questions, your great questions, Stephen and Hearts Love. And the rest of you who showed up, thank you. You all are awesome. Please feel free to subscribe and hit that little ringy dingy bell icon below if you be notified every time I upload or go live, whichever one comes first. And what else do I say? Please leave a thumbs up and a like on the way out the door. Or you could leave a thumbs down if you didn't like it. It's still engagement according to YouTube, according to the YouTube algorithm. So yeah. So anyways, I would like to hear your suggestions, you subscribers, you the viewers. What would you like to see me to talk about next? What would you like me to cover next? Either by myself or with the help of a trusted friend or guest. Or if you want, other people I've had on before, collabed with before, would you like to see back on with me in a live or in an upload? So yeah, please really let me know what you would like to see or hear from me next. I always enjoy the interaction with all of you. Jeff and Sheldon, thank you so much again. We hope to have you both back.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Great seeing you, Jeff. Take care. Love the glasses, by the way. I would never get Elton John the same way again, buddy.
They match his headphones. Do you notice that his glasses match his headphones?
Yes, I noticed that. Yes.
And his
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that on the Goodbye Yellow Brick Yellow Brick Road tour. Yeah.
Yes.
I like to make a good fashion statement.
Oh, definitely make a good fashion statement, buddy.
Yeah, all of us with we're the cool glasses brigade tonight instead of the hat brigade. Tonight's hat shot, So thank you for all attending tonight's hat shot. Thanks to Jeff and Sheldon. Thanks to you viewers. You all rock. Take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, if there's somebody in your midst who is at risk or vulnerable, please take the time to look in on them. It can make all the difference in the world and their lives. So good night, everybody. We's all out. Night. Night. Okay. You know how to end your stream, Jeff? Okay. Do you know how to get out?
How do I get out?
Okay. You should be able to pull your. You should be able to see remove from stream. Okay, I'm gonna quit the stream. That'll probably take you out at the same time. Okay. Say good night, Gracie. Say good night, Gracie. It'll probably take you out at the same time, so I'm gonna end. So good night, Jeff, and thanks for being here. Good night. Night. Okay.